I often wonder how many reentry programs actually take the time to educate their participants about the damage trauma has done to their brain. Not just how to get a job, not just how to write a resume or start a business, but what incarceration has actually done to their mind. Because here's the thing. Trauma, it physically changes the brain. Study shows that repeated trauma, like the kind experienced in prison, it shrinks the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that's responsible for decision making, impulse control, and problem solving. And it enlarges the amygdala. That's the part that's responsible for fear and emotional reactivity. It makes it harder to regulate emotions, and it weakens the hippocampus. And this is the part that affects the memory and the learning. So when a person comes home after years of living in survival mode, they're not just trying to adjust to society. They're literally trying to function with a brain that has been rewired by trauma. And yet, most programs ignore this. Instead of addressing the head, the brain, the heart, the emotions, and the hands, employment and skill building, they jump straight into job training. They put the cart before the horse. True story. Let me tell you about James. So James came home after doing 12 years in prison. He got into a reentry program that focused on getting him a job. Within 2 weeks, he was working in a warehouse. Everybody called it a success. 12 years in and 2 weeks out and you have a job. But within 3 months, he quit. He said he couldn't take it. The long hours, the pressure, the feeling of being controlled, it all triggered something in him he couldn't explain. So he got another job and he quit that one too. And then after a misunderstanding with his parole officer, he snapped. He got angry. He said things he shouldn't have. He was labeled as non-compliant. And suddenly he was spiraling. People started saying he didn't want to change, but that he wasn't trying. But that wasn't the case. He wanted to succeed. But no one ever helped him to understand what prison had done to his brain. Nobody explained that trauma had rewired his nervous system, making him hyper-reactive to stress. Nobody told him that the panic, the outbursts, the feeling of being trapped at work, all of it was trauma responses and not a lack of motivation. He had the hands, he had the job skills, but his head and his heart wasn't healed enough to maintain it. The right order is the head, the heart, and the hands. Reentry needs to start with the head. People need to understand how trauma has impacted their brain, their reactions, and their ability to process emotions. Awareness is the first step to healing. And then we move to the heart. Emotional intelligence, coping mechanisms, and learning how to regulate stress, because without these tools, the smallest trigger can make someone throw everything away. And then, and only then, do we focus on the hands, jobs, entrepreneurship, skill training. Because when the brain and the emotions are stable, job training actually sticks. Reentry programs need to do better. If reentry programs aren't addressing trauma, they aren't really setting people up for success. They're giving them tools for their hands while their head and their heart are still broken. Because you can teach someone how to use their hands all day long. But if their mind isn't healed and their emotions aren't stable, the cycle will repeat itself. It's time to stop putting the cart before the horse. Reentry is about more than just jobs. It's about healing. Because without that, nothing else lasts. Seek to understand, not deny. Prison has side effects.